right. Hello, YouTube. This is the beginning of a kind of video diary series that I've been meaning to start, related to some of the gym stuff that I'm doing, but also importantly focused on things outside of the gym, and how it relates. And I think that I needed some sort of like outlet to let all of these thoughts kind of express in some way, shape or form through some sort of medium. And I thought recording myself talking to a camera is a good way of doing that. So there's so many different topics that I've been thinking of how to speak about and how to express. And of course I have all of my friends, family, my partner to speak to about these things, but I almost wanted to figure out a way to talk to myself in a way. And so this page that on YouTube that I'm making is primarily focused around bodybuilding content, and gym kind of lifting stuff, which is one of my hobbies. But there's so many things outside of the gym that are also really important and things that I want to address. So yeah, hopefully I stick to this, and hopefully the goal of this is to help, even if it is one other person that's around my age that's kind of struggling with similar things or thinking about similar things. Yeah, and just to kind of have that open discourse about some of these things that I feel like younger men in their 20s that are now kind of going through life with work and education and family and things like that, how to manage different problems and certain obstacles that people might hit throughout that journey through their 20s. And I can share my insights, and also just kind of what I'm struggling with, and how I deal with those things. And the first thing, I guess this is like a really good starting point that I wanted to talk about, is around the idea of managing expectations. So for me, I've always had this attitude that I guess throughout my 20s, I need to work as hard as possible to get to whatever it is, the goal that I want to get to. I don't want to be working forever. I don't want to be kind of stuck in a certain type of life. I'm chasing this kind of goal of ultimate freedom, and part of that is a financial freedom, and also there's other types of things that play into it, but a big one is of course financially speaking. And I've grown up in a lower class, working class household and things like that. So we didn't have much growing up, and a lot of people didn't have much growing up, and so I feel like that desire to be financially free becomes stronger because of that. And as such, I've taken on a lot of responsibilities through means of work and keeping myself busy, and those things have played a big part in the kind of expectation that other people have of me, whether it be colleagues, family, friends, my partner, because it takes up a lot of your time, right? It's when you are fully dedicated to something career-wise, it is going to take up a lot of your time. It's going to take up a lot of your mental capacity, right? Even outside of those working hours. I'm not going to go into specifics. I'm 25 years old, by the way. So I'm in the middle of this kind of journey, going through this, and I'm trying to, while I'm young, I know 25 online is not considered young anymore, but while I'm at this age, I want to be able to work as hard as possible and get to that goal as quickly as possible, because I want to live, the vast majority of my life peacefully and not bound by the constraints of having to do work, having to do all these things that are going to keep me afloat. And I've seen how this affects other people, like my parents and other family. And so, that's something that I never wanted for myself. And also part of what drives me is to be able to retire them, to be able to be the person that they can rely on. And, when you want to be the person that other people rely on, inherently you are burdening some sort of expectation from them on yourself. And those expectations can be difficult to manage if you have taken on a lot of responsibility. And that's one of the things that I'd struggled with, is around managing those expectations that others have of me through all of the things that I'm taking on. And also in turn, the expectations that I have of myself, because I'm a little bit of a people pleaser. So I think that, that plays into the whole thing of managing expectations, because if I disappoint other people, I disappoint myself, and that's something that I can't help. And I guess like part of what grounds me is, when you take on a lot of things, you start to have less control of certain other factors, right? And actually, well, you already never had control of those factors, but it becomes more apparent as you have less and less time that the things that you're worrying about as you do more and more and more are the things that you typically don't have control over. And that realization helped me ground myself and helped me manage those expectations and those disappointments that potentially will occur a lot better, and not be as hard on myself about those things. Now, I feel as though there's these different factors pulling me in different directions when I take on all this responsibility, when I take on all this different work and all these different things in life. One of those things is work pulling me in one way, and family pulling me in one way, and then my partner demanding, rightly so, time and attention in another way. And I want to be able to spend time with my partner. I want to be able to be there for her. I want to be able to spend time with my friends. I want to be able to keep my colleagues and my work life happy. But when you're being pulled in these different directions, I've almost made my peace with the fact that when you keep yourself so busy, take on so much responsibility, that inevitably there's going to be some days where you keep one factor, one part of your life more satisfied, and versus that might take a little bit away from another, and so it becomes almost impossible to keep everyone simultaneously happy. And it's a game of kind of managing. I spent a lot of time on this week, and I'm going to spend a lot of time with this another week, and so it sucks, but sometimes it will be the case that you're not able to give 110% in every capacity in your life. You might have to split that up, but as long as you're putting your best foot forward and you're trying your absolute best in every capacity, and you can walk away from that day or look back on that day or that week or that month and be like, okay, I tried my absolute best to manage those expectations. I tried my absolute best to put my best foot forward for all of these different things that I'm managing and all of these different things that I'm in charge of, and everything that went wrong was completely out of my control. That's how I find my inner peace with those things, and that's how I stop worrying about those things. Now, if those people, your friends, your family, and your partner, those people are going to care about you. Those people are going to hopefully love you and want the best for you. They're also going to understand and compromise with, and kind of, if you have that open communication with them, that's going to help you keep those different parts of your life understanding and happy and things like that, because they're going to realize all of the things that you're doing. So that's another big part, is the communication aspect, which is something that I'm working on, is being able to communicate those things with all of those different people in your life that do care about you, because they ultimately, what they want is for you to be happy as well. So it's all kind of a two-way street. And a big thing for me is being able to communicate all those different things that I'm struggling with all those different people in my life, so that they understand what I'm going through, and I'm not kind of having this, it almost looks as if from an outside perspective that I don't like care about them at all, or that I'm essentially depriving them of time, attention, etc., or I don't care about that relationship, and so on and so forth. So that's another part. And finally, it's obviously finding that inner peace, is making your peace with you know, those things that you can't control, essentially. And then it comes around the aspect of managing your own expectations at this point, the expectations of yourself that you have. And I think that a healthy avenue for me, or a healthy outlet, has been the gym for me, purely because I feel as though the gym is the one thing in my life right now where I can go in by myself. I set my own goals, I have my own expectations of myself, and I can try my absolute best as I get in there and just do the absolute best that I can, and walk out of that gym and be like, actually, you know what, I've put everything that I have into this session. I'm happy with whatever I walk away with. Of course, I'm going to be disappointed if I'm one rep short, or I've had to, you know, it's been a bit of an off day. But ultimately, the thing that matters the most, and the thing I kind of draw the equivalence to here from inside the gym and all of the really important real life stuff, right, is putting your best foot forward and making your peace with things that you cannot control. If I'm having an off day in the gym, right, I'm not feeling that great, or my recovery wasn't that great, okay, maybe I could control some parts of my recovery, but ultimately, right, there are going to be things that, you know, on that day today, if I'm not feeling that well, and I'm about to head into the gym now, I'm actually in the car park, if I happen to feel a little bit worse during the session, and I'm just not able to reach those heights from a different session, so be it, right? As long as I'm trying my absolute best, I can walk out of that gym in about an hour and a half and be like, you know what, I've tried my absolute best, and that's that. And so that's the same principle that I want to apply to all of these other things in my life. Is, you know, no matter what the things are that you cannot control, no matter what the things are that you know, all those expectations, all those insurmountable things, you just have to tackle them head on, as scary as it is, and try your absolute best, because you're going to feel so much better when you walk out of that situation and you've made your peace with it, because you know you have zero regrets about the way you've handled that, zero regrets about the effort that you've put into those things. So that's really been one of the things that's helped me. And again, it's that communication aspect. When there's other people involved that care about you and you care about them, or even just people that you, in general, anyone that you have working relationships and so on and so forth, it's always the best thing to do is always to have that line of communication, and be that person that, you know, if you're open and you can communicate all those things that you're struggling with, the chances are things are going to be so much easier, rather than burdening yourself with things, thinking, oh, well, you know, I probably shouldn't, you know, talk about all these things. I probably shouldn't tell, you know, this person's probably not going to care. It's always better to be open and honest and communicate, because then people understand where you are. They understand what your situation is. So that's been a massive thing for me. And it becomes difficult to do if you're the type of person that, you know, you don't want to burden other people with your struggles. You don't want to burden other people with with things that are bothering you, which is the type of person that I am. But ultimately, you'll come to realize that the overall outcome is always going to be better, or 99% of the time going to be better, if you are just open and honest and communicate those things. Now, I'm actually going to hit chest today. So yeah, I'm really excited for the session. I just came back from a little getaway trip with my fiance. It was really nice. Had a bit of a cheat day yesterday, but you know, we're back on plan. I'm in the middle of this kind of crazy cut, the last month of it before I want to go into this kind of off season. I've never actually had an on season, so, but I want to go into a main gain bulk and actually compete in bodybuilding at some point next year, hopefully, depending on where I am. Maybe it's a little bit ambitious, but yeah, let's hit the session, and yeah, let's go. Just realized that I didn't end up filming an outro at all. Still new to this, but yeah, that was my chest day. Nice to do an upper body session. I've got back tomorrow morning. There's also the Arnold UK on, so I'll be going to that with one of my friends. So hopefully the expo will be good fun. Lots of cool things, cool people to meet, and yeah, should be fun. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.